it is not men ruining relationships. It is women sabotaging themselves.
Women are delusional in dating.
Here's another thing that men do to show the women in their lives they don't actually care about them.
A lot of women have unrealistic expectations.
Here's the reason why young men are choosing hookers over girlfriends.
Baby, regardless of what you do, it's never gonna be enough for these booty head ass bitches.
What happens when a woman openly admits that modern dating isn't just failing because of men, but because of choices women are making too? Could this be one of the most controversial dating conversations of the year? Or is it simply one person's perspective that's making people stop and think? In today's video, we'll break down exactly what she said, why her comments are sparking heated debates across the internet, and whether her arguments actually hold up. Stay with us until the very end, because the final point may completely change the way you look at modern dating.
Men love bitches, and men should love bitches. You want to end up with a woman.
Holy man alive, you see how deluded they are? Guys don't want that.
Why are men so angry?
They're finally getting to the point where they've had enough, and women don't know what to do about it.
I done 18 years, glad to be out of prison.
Here's another thing that men do to show the women in their lives they don't actually care about them. They will walk ahead of you in most cases. This is something my husband did a lot, and when I would ask him to slow down, because I would be like nearly running to keep up with him, he would always tell me, "You walk too slow, walk faster." One time, very early in our marriage, he actually bought me a pair of shoes that were designed to help people walk faster. And you know, he said, "Oh, maybe you'll finally be able to keep up with me." You know, I'm 5'4". He was 5'8" or 5'9"? But like his legs are longer. His pace is, you know, his stride is longer than mine, and he could not understand that, and he just refused to slow down. One time, and he would do this everywhere, even if we were in unfamiliar places. One time we were on vacation in Key West, and he kept walking ahead of me, and I asked him, like, "Can you slow down, please? Can you slow down?" And he wouldn't. So I finally was like, "Okay." And me, like, we're tourists. I'm not walking dawdling, but like I'm walking and looking around at stuff because I've never been there before. And finally, I just let him keep going, and I kept walking at my pace. And a couple of times I would like stop and see if he would look back. No, he kept going. And then I slowed down. He kept going, and then I finally just crossed the street to see if he would notice. Kept going, and the whole time I'm keeping my eyes on him to see, like, at what point is he going to notice. It took something like 5 to 10 minutes for him to look back and look around, and then he finally spotted me on the other side of the street. I waved to him, and then he turned around and kept going. So if they just won't walk with you, and no matter what refuse to slow down, they don't care about you.
Narcissists always walk ahead. You deserve a man who holds your hand or puts his arm around you on leisurely walks. My husband will pick up my hand and kiss it now and again. A good man would hold your hand while you're walking, and he walks closest to the street. That's what a good man does.
A lot of women came at me in that video and said, like, they have the right to choose who they are attracted to. And I'm like, yo, for real, you are absolutely correct. But the problem is a lot of women have unrealistic expectations, right? You want a 6'4" man who's not bald. He has great head of hair, but it got to be salt and pepper, so he got to be in his like mid-30s. He can't have no kids. He got to have $500,000 in his bank account, and he got to be making 7 figures a year. He already got to have a house. He got to have a nice car, and he has to pay for your entire existence, right? And he better love his family, and he better be in the greatest shape of his life. Meanwhile, you ain't got nothing going on for you. And it's fucking delusion. It's fucking delusion. Some of y'all don't be looking at who the hell is going to help me through the death of my parents, right? Some of y'all don't be looking at, if I were to get sick, is this man going to be by my side? A lot of y'all have such unrealistic expectations, and that's why all these older women are just single and bitter, and they're like, oh, men is shit. When that's not the reality. It's not. It's really not. It's just that you want the perfect fucking man when you're not perfect.
I think people have mistaken preferences for standards. Preferences should be negotiable, standards not. Nobody is perfect. We all come with our own flaws and insecurities. You just gotta decide who's worth it, and I promise looks have nothing to do with true happiness.
I have to say I feel sorry for some of you men out there in the dating world because it is 2025. I'm a 38-year-old female, and these women out here even confused me. Some women out here putting Jesus in their bio, but then you go look at their stuff and it's nothing but thirst traps, lustful, seductive content. I mean, the modern day woman calls serving your husband oppression, but yet will have no problem going out and serving a male boss and cry that that's empowerment. And real feminine energy is not sexual marketing like the modern day woman might tell you. Y'all are getting seduction and femininity like completely confused. And I've said it before, but a lot of women have this long laundry list of unrealistic criteria that they want in a man, but yet they bring nothing to the table. And we don't talk about that. We tell the women, no, you are a queen, you will be treated as such, but we're not teaching women how to be wives these days. And I would go out on a limb and say that most of the women out in the modern day dating culture do not actually have standards. They have entitlement and accountability, a woman's kryptonite. Some of you ladies are going to die alone, still blaming men for the choices that you made.
Say it louder for the people in the back or who don't want to listen. Single is safe, not worth the headache these days.
Here's the reason why young men are choosing hookers over girlfriends. Modern dating, it's exhausting. Young girls, they complain about everything. Nothing is ever good enough. He didn't text back fast enough. The restaurant, it wasn't nice enough. He's not romantic enough. It's constant work and he's never winning. A hooker? Well, she just shows up and she's happy to be there. And she leaves when he needs to focus on his goals. No drama, no demands, no guilt trips. She doesn't drain his bank account or his mental energy. And she doesn't make him choose between herself and his future. She's just easy in every sense. Young men, get yourself a hooker or find yourself a mature woman who's got her shit together.
Yeah. These days, a clear financial relationship with an escort is so much more rewarding and much less dramatic.
Ladies, this one's gonna sting, but most of the time it is not men ruining relationships. It is women sabotaging themselves. But first, let me explain. First is the victim mindset. If every argument turns into poor me, look what you did to me, you're not resolving the conflict. You're dodging accountability. Second, attention addiction. If you need outside validation, likes, stares, DMs to feel secure, you'll never be happy with the man that you're with. Third, lack of self-worth. If you drag your unhealed trauma into a relationship but refuse to face it and deal with it, you're making your partner pay for damage that they did not cause. These aren't just little habits. They are relationship killers. They destroy trust, create resentment, and eventually push away the man or woman you claim to love. And the hard truth, a lot of women would rather blame men than admit that they're guilty of these patterns. So before you say men are the problem, ask yourself, am I sabotaging my own relationship? Try to ask yourself that. If you're brave enough to admit that, you will change everything. If not, you're going to repeat the same cycle. Drop your take in the comments. I know this one is going to get a little heated.
Arrogant in their 20s, delusional in their 30s, bitter in their 40s, alone in their 50s, forgotten in their 60s. I love the fact that you're asking women to be accountable. I can't think of one time when things weren't working out, that my girl actually stopped and looked at herself and thought of what she could have done wrong. It was always pointed towards me. The outside validation in today's social media world is hard to combat also. Women seem to need it, men don't necessarily. What's crazy is that women ask where the good men are and they are not realizing that they had one all along. They lost the good man thinking he was a bad one. The whole time it was the woman who was bad. They won't admit it. Watch.
Men were perfectly fine with knocking on a woman's front door, asking her father to take her on a date. Men were fine with courting a woman, and men were fine with waiting for sex until marriage. But women called all of that patriarchy and dismantled the entire dynamic with feminism. Now we are left with the dumpster fire that is modern day dating. 80% of women want 20% or less of men, and those men have a ton of options. Of course, women hate when things don't go their way or when they have to take an L, so they do whatever it takes to shame men into not doing the things they used to be able to get away with when they were young and hot. The latest tactic is the T app. T is an app where women can share stories of men that they've gone on dates with and whether they are green flags or red flags. And the purpose of the T app is to keep women safe when it comes to dating. But women don't it's like we argue. We're like, keep us safe, right? So If we really cared about safety, why are we flying to Dubai by ourselves to get pooped on by billionaires? Do you know what I mean? It's funny how they complain when it is their fault that dating is how it is in the first place.
I gave up dating. My family is made, got great kids, and play video games with PPL from another country. Its peaceful reality is that there are too many formalities during the era they called patriarchy. Men don't complaining doing those things. But now is the era of feminism, so men can just chat a woman and you already know what is next.
Fellas, I'm sorry to be the one to break it to you, but baby, regardless of what you do, it's never gonna be enough for these booty head ass bitches. Let's get into it. Women have built their whole fucking dating strategy off of moving a fucking goalpost and then blaming the man when he can't fucking win a game that was created for him to fucking lose. Yeah, I fucking said it. Like, a man texts or call too much, he doing too much. He don't text or call at all, he inconsistent. He want to be around you, he clingy. He want to give you space, he acting different. He want to be around you, he moving too fast. He takes his time, then he wasting yours? What the fuck is this? He paid for everything, then that's what he's supposed to do. He asked you to go half with him, then he broke, bitch. I can't make this shit up if I tried. And the reality is, y'all bitches really don't see how fucking exhausting that is. Bitch, I'm exhausting just making a motherfucking video. That's exhausting. Regardless of what the fuck they do, it's never fucking enough, bro.
Dude, she's so smart.
Women are delusional in dating. I say this as a professional matchmaker and as a woman who lived inside delusion for 43 years. And there are many stories that I will share to illustrate this in service of truth and love. But we need to start with a statistic that knocked me out. So a little context first. As a professional matchmaker, people come to me with lists. Eventually, I hope we see that lists do not lead to love, but that is the trend. If I check off all the things on the list, I will find love. Anyways, that's another video. So women often had height, and can you guess the other one on the list? Financial security. And that range for them of what was tall enough or what was rich enough varied, but nonetheless, you would see it often. And I will tell you, no one ever said, I have a healthy, happy relationship because I'm with a tall, rich dude. Ever. Never. That is never the thing. Sure, if you like it, it can be a bonus. But let me tell you, you really need to look at that because here's the stat. Are you ready? If you are wanting a gentleman who is 6 feet tall or above and who makes over $150,000 or above, guess what percent of the dating pool you are dealing with? 1%. You've reduced all the men down to 1% left if you are looking for that. And let me tell you, that guy, that 1%, he has a lot of options. And so every woman thinks she's getting this guy. Wait, and that 1%, oh, this is the most important part. That does not include kindness. That does not include intelligence. That does not include emotional availability. That does not include physical attractiveness. It includes nothing that is important in actually making a relationship last. It doesn't include similar values. You've shrunk your dating pool down to 1%. And I'm going to tell you why none of this matters. But before I do that, we need to really let this sink in. And we need to remember this. This is very easy to forget. When you have a bad date or are struggling with anything in relationships, this statistic, once you understand more context, it will put it in perspective for you. So save it so you can refer back to it and share it with your friends. Because women, we need to wake up. 6 foot tall and 150K is not, it's not it. It's not gonna get you the marriage and the love that you want. And I will share what will. But first, we need to let the statistic sink in. Save it and share it.
I found a hack. I just don't date anymore. I've got busy living life. Looking after myself and my dogs. Do you think social media has negative effects on modern dating? I love genuine souls and accountable people. That's my version of a catch. Thank you.
This happens in a lot of houses.
I emasculated my ex-husband 3 specific ways: control, criticism, and comparison. I was in control of everything. I controlled how the dishes went in. If he loaded the dishwasher and it wasn't good enough, the way he was going to lead our team, it wasn't good enough. The way he managed everything wasn't good enough. Nothing he did was ever good enough. And then I let him know out loud, like I criticized everything that he did and told him how it should have been done better. And perfection was the standard that I held for him. So nothing was ever good enough, because I was comparing me and him. And I had this self-righteous view of myself that I knew the way and my way was better. And nothing he ever did was enough. And eventually it created a man that was apathetic, that was resigned to not do anything. Why should he show up? If I'm gonna redo it, or if I'm gonna do it better, or if he's gonna get criticized, why should he show up? And then that caused further division in our relationship, because he would say that he was going to do something and then just not. And it created this big void in respect. And where I got it wrong in the respect category was I was waiting for him to show up as perfect in order for me to begin to respect him. I didn't ever respect his effort. I didn't ever respect the progress. I didn't respect anything.
This is very important. This happens in a lot of houses. Women, we can be control freaks, right? We can also have this idea of we want things done our way. Ladies, if you're honest with yourself, you will say, yes, I'm extremely picky. I demand perfection because I have an inflated sense of ego at times and I think I'm doing everything the right way. It becomes my way or the highway, and you emasculate the guy by saying you're doing it wrong, right? He goes to load the dishwasher because, he's trying to be helpful and he's doing it wrong. He goes to, do whatever. Laundry comes out, he folds a couple of towels, and you're like, oh, you roll them in a ball. Don't do that. Forget it. Just let me do it, right? Be honest. Guys have lived this reality over and over and over again. And what it creates is a guy who's emasculated, but also a guy who says, well, screw you. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to do it so you can redo it. Why would I do it at all, right? I'm not going to take a leadership role in this and then have you tell me I'm doing it all wrong. They don't want to be told like this all the time, like a little child. And essentially, she's saying this ruined her marriage, because she was a control freak, because she was self-righteous, because she had this inflated sense of ego, and because she consistently emasculated her guy. It ruined her marriage. So these are the kinds of videos that are really valuable to have out there, because women owning up to what they're doing wrong is imperative. Guys need to own up. Women need to own up. And we live in a world now where we expect guys to own up, but we don't expect women to own up. And we tell women, in fact, oh, it's not you. It's never you. It's never your fault, which is unrealistic, A, not true, and also extremely unhelpful to building a healthy relationship dynamic.
My only question is, why? This is exactly what destroyed my 28-year marriage. I got so tired of being told I wasn't doing it right, I just quit putting in the effort.
Dating women is so impossible these days. But then when a girl gets with you, you call her easy. Oh. Okay, so when a woman gets with you, you shame her and put down her value. Right? But then when women don't want to get with you, you find the dating world to be hard and impossible. Didn't you have someone who was easy? Okay, and then you're surprised that said easy girl maybe even changes her standards, right? And then suddenly she has such high standards that you as a 5'11" man who rounds to 6 foot can't even reach them. Well, then suddenly, women's standards are way too high, they want too much from us. Isn't that what you wanted? You said she was easy, so she made it so she's not easy anymore. And y'all still have a problem with that. Y'all complain even though it's the exact system that you set up women to be. You're surprised by the reaction. Oh, okay.
You were talking about 2 different groups of men. The type to call you easy, or not the type to be saying it's impossible to get with women.
Many women will destroy their own marriage and still blame their husband. There's a false belief that the relationship can only get better if the man changes. If he just took more initiative, if he just stepped up more, if he was just more mature. Are there immature, unfaithful men who, even with the best wife in the world, still suck? Of course, but I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the relationships that are slowly dying because of repeated toxic patterns. Nothing improves when you're sitting around waiting for change. Relationships get better when you change the pattern that you are activating in the other person. So let me break this down. The male brain is highly sensitive to recognition. When his efforts are admired, it opens him up to bond and connect more easily. But when he hears criticism, comparison, and pressure, his brain is forced to activate defense mode and he shuts down. So instead of saying, "You never prioritize me," you change it to, "When you prioritize quality time with me, I feel so safe and loved." Do you see the difference? One triggers attack and the other creates direction. A woman has the power to elevate or tear down a relationship because she is the emotional regulator of the home. She sets the climate, she sets the tone, and she shapes the environment. If you want to learn more about how to make your man step up, I created a free masterclass showing you the way. Click the link in my bio for access.
But what you suggest would mean that women would need to have self-awareness and accountability, and that's not gonna happen. Women act on emotions that constantly shift, can't hold emotions accountable. All you can do is set boundaries and say no. A man needs to show a woman that bad behavior has consequences. But being masculine in today's feministic world means you're toxic then and a misogynist.
I overheard a group of men talking about the worst dates they've ever been on, and these men each said the worst thing that's ever happened to them on a date, the worst thing, was when they showed up and the girl was a little bit fatter than she was in her Tinder profile pictures. So then I started to think about the worst thing that's ever happened to me on a first date, and I think it was the time I showed up and my date casually mentioned that he had been recently released from federal prison because he had a fun little habit where he liked to break into businesses in Oregon, rob them blind, and then cross state lines into Washington and set up an underground market situation, sell everything. He got caught, spent 5 years in prison, and that's where he found Jesus. And then he noticed that I kept receiving text messages from a friend because women have to do this super fun thing on dates where we check in with a loved one every 45 minutes to let them know we're still alive. And I said, "Oh, please excuse me," while I respond to my friend and let them know I'm okay and not, haha, the leading lady in the next horrific Netflix documentary. Then he made a graphic joke about schmurdering me. It was so graphic, it made the bartender who was shaking a cocktail put everything down and slowly turn and look at me like... I can't repeat all of it because this video will be taken down if I do, but it involved him removing a digit to unlock my phone to reply to my friends as me to cover up the fact that he had... At that point, I was so shocked and terrified that I entered the freeze state of a trauma response, and I didn't know what to do. I was too scared to leave because I was worried he would try and follow me home, but his card got declined, so he went over to his truck to find a different form of payment, and the bartender came over to me and said, "This guy seems really dangerous. I think you should leave. I will help you go out the back entrance so he doesn't see you. I want to make sure that you make it home safely tonight, but you have to leave now." After that, I blocked him, reported him on Hinge, and didn't go on another date for 6 months after that. But yeah, so sorry those girls were a little bit fatter than their profile pictures. Oh my god, that's like so scary.
I'm so glad I don't have to date anymore. I'd probably just be single.
Women have a dating problem. Let's talk about it. For every 100 women that are college educated, only 74 men today share their credentials, which means you're not facing bad luck. You're stuck in a bad market, which dating apps have built a business off of. Men are barely getting matches, and women reject the vast majority of their likes. And anytime somebody actually finds someone, the dating app loses their customer. So why would they ever fix it? Meanwhile, 80% of Gen Z women say that they're burned out from swiping. And Tinder's response is to raise their prices and make more money off of fewer users. You have to know that they're not selling you love. They're selling you the search for love, which is basically a slot machine with a subscription fee. Meanwhile, men are falling behind women. A record number of Gen Z guys have never asked a woman out in person. So we have two groups of lonely people on opposite sides of an app sharing a terrible experience that's not helping them find each other. The good news is Gen Z is starting to wake up to it, and the swipe era is over.
The thing is, guys aren't holding women to these standards, and most women don't even fit their own standards. Why are we acting like men are the problem here? People are shallow, can't see past what's trending. Social media has ruined the perception of reality.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest